खी खो खारे ख्यो कार जैसी खारी. Don't see confused. So you might be wondering like what is this nonsense written here and what this guy is talking, right? So uh, these are two sentences which are encrypted using asymmetric encryption. So what is the key for this and what is the what is the actual text here? So if you ask me, like for the first sentence, the key is to remove first letter from first from words, right? So then if we just remove this first letter from each of the first word, so then it becomes hi, how are you, right? And in the second sentence, so what is the key to remove to decrypt the data? So it is first letter minus 1. So in each word we have to minus 1 the first letter. So C minus 1 is B and J minus 1 is I and T minus 1 is S. So bar is scary. So this is the simplest example of a symmetric encryption, and I'm pretty much aware that you're already aware of it. So you are here to understand asymmetric encryption and how the public and private key encryption will work. So before going further, so I'll just show you how, like, what is this asymmetric encryption and how exactly the encryption works using the asymmetric encryption. So as you see in the asymmetric encryption is pretty straightforward, like this, so there is only one key that needs to be exchanged between both the parties. So for example, if this is my key, so I have to either call my remote party or call my the destination who wants to see the actual message, the key, actual key, and ask him to decrypt the message. But in the asymmetric encryption, so there is a concept of two keys, not just the one key. So the public key and private key, and the public key is available all over the world. I mean, it is publicly available, so there is nothing hidden. And the private key is something that is private to the receiver or the sender only. So whenever anybody encrypts any information with the public key, so the information can be decrypted only using the private key. So let me give you this example in a simplest manner. So for example, when a person A wants to share any information with person B. So in this case, in the asymmetric encryption scenario, so there will be total four keys. So one public key and one private key, which the sender one, and one public key and one private key, which is the destination. So now, if this person wants to encrypt a message and send it to this person B. So then what he needs is his public key. So which is globally available. So this can be available in a public internet. So then once this guy receives the second person's public key, so he will encrypt the message using the public key and sends it to the person B. So once the person B receives it, so using his own private key, so he will be able to decrypt it. So how that works is, so when this guy has this private key and public key both, so these have some mathematical computation done, and these both are like we can say like integrated. So this public key can be decrypted using this private key only. So that is the key pair. So like when we generate a key pair, so this is how it will work. So any public key, like this public key can be decrypted using this private key only with no other private key, right? So now, so this you might have already like searched and found so many videos regarding this information. I completely understand that. So now, so I want you to show practically what exactly this public key is, what exactly this public key is, how this can be shared using the plain internet. So in a general scenario, like if you are accessing a google.com or some banking websites or some any like now almost 80 more than 80% of the websites are completely secure websites only, but you never encounter this public key private key information exchange while you are accessing a plain internet, right? So in general scenario, in practical environment, how exactly this key information will be sent? So if I just take a example of google.com. So if I open google.com, so then I have this bar, right? So I have this log symbol over here, so which essentially includes the says that it is a HTTPS websites and it is encrypted. So how exactly this encryption has worked? So I have not entered my public key anywhere. I have not encrypted any data using the public key of the google.com, but still how come this encryption has happened? So when I click on this, so you can see something called as a certificate within here. So as you can see it here, connection is secure. If you click on it, you will be able to see the certificate. So show certificate. If I click on the show certificate, I will be able to see the certificate information of the google.com. So if you go to this details and if you just scroll it a little bottom, so here you will see the public key. So if you just copy this one and take it to your notepad, right? So now if you see, this is the public key. This is the public key of the google.com. So now, so what is 0f, 9f, EF means? We don't know because this is a public key generated by uh, Google. And how this can be decrypted using the private key. So similar to this one, so we don't know the private key what Google has it. So similar to this one, so Google has its own private key using which Google will be able to decrypt the information. So what exactly happened in here? So I opened up my browser and I have opened a new tab. So I typed in google.com. So now my browser went to google.com and got google.com's public key and encrypted my actual information. For example, if I'm searching for something over here, let's say images or something, whatever it might be. So when I'm sending this information, right? So if you see this URL is getting sent to google.com, that this guy is searching for this information. So now this information is encrypted using this public key which is provided by google.com in the earlier negotiation. So once this information has been received at the Google end, now Google will use its own private key to decrypt the message and send back the necessary information to us. So if you are a network engineer or if you are a sysadmin or something that kind of field that you're working on, so any network device, so when you enable SSH, automatically it will generate a key pair. So when you're working with any encryption related software, so you will see generating a new key pair kind of thing, and automatically you will get a um, automatically you will get the key pair like the both private key and public key information. So using that you can the application which you are using will be encrypted and decrypted. So in a simple term if we speak, so whenever you try to enable SSH on any network device, so then if you see there will be a small delay in generating the key pair. So in the back end essentially what it is doing, so it will ask you for the key length. So let's say you supply 2048 bits or 1024 bits or whatever it might be. So when you supply the number of keys, automatically, so the device will generate its own key pair, the public key and private key pair on its own like the device, and it will store it inside of it. So whenever any information that is requesting, like when you open your putty and when you try to connect to the device using the SSH, so then automatically the device will send you the public key, and when you enter your username and passwords, so automatically the information will be encrypted using the public key of that particular Cisco device, and the Cisco device will be able to decrypt the message using its own private key. So let me show you that in a simple terms. So if I take my notepad, so for example, so this is my Cisco switch or any other network device. So this is my switch, and here I have my computer or laptop. So and I'm trying to access this one using the putty software. So when I open this and when I in the putty software, when I type SSH, so automatically like it will ask you for a small prompt in the first place, like yes, no, or something like that, because the public key, private key is not something that your computer trusts. So that's why it will keep you a warning that you want to trust this. So then you will say yes, and then